Hello, and welcome to the BeHer to UPLIFT Podcast, where we center the stories of impactful changemakers, entrepreneurs, and community leaders who have done the hard work of uplifting themselves through adversity to get where they are today, and now uplift others along the way in their journeys. I'm Lolo Fisher, your host, lover of all things wellness, healing, and empowerment, and I would greatly appreciate if you show us your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing this podcast with others. Let's get into it. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the BeHer to UPLIFT Podcast. I am here with my girl, DanYell Tostado. And we actually just finished an event that she hosted for the BeHer Society. So we got the beautiful green couch, a little different setting than where I'm typically recording, but I absolutely love this space. I love this girl, and I'm excited for y'all to hear more from her. So please introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm really excited to be here with Lolo. My name is DanYell Tostado. I am the founder of BeHer Society. And I'm also the owner of Modesto Natural Detox. If you guys have heard it, we're in the little transition, so soon it'll be all natural detox going shipping and stuff. But anyways, yeah, that's me.
I love it. So I think the piece that she's like not telling us, but that I have seen since I met you and since actually connecting first on social media, then meeting in person and so on, is that you really are someone who inspires people. Like, it may not be a job title, but daily and like in the work you're doing with BeHer Society, with the detox company, with the other things that you're doing, like in your entrepreneurial journey, you're always lifting people up. And that's like part of why I want to have you on the podcast, because I wanted to talk a little bit about what it looks like in your journey to lift yourself up before you start lifting others up, because I know that was like part of your journey is figuring out how to say yes to you.
I'm just so passionate about it. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I go through moments with certain people where I see it in their eyes that they just need that spark, you know, and me going through so many different seasons in my life that I had to spark myself up, like it just brings that fire in me where I'm like, I can do it for somebody, you know, like it's not about being envy, jealousy, like the sun shines for everyone. And like when you have that heart to just like spark it in someone's life, it's like a huge blessing, because then you see it happening and then you see the growth, and then it's just amazing, you know?
Yeah. So how did you start your entrepreneurial journey?
I was in denial with that word for so many years. Just because my first job was a car dealership, right? I was in the car industry, and I would always hear people say, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm self-made and this and that. And I would always like look at their fruit, you know, the fruit of their labor. And I'm like, but you have a 9-to-5 job, like you have a secure job, like how is that being an entrepreneur, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because it was said so much, I always held myself back from being like, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, you know? Then it was recently, maybe like 2 years ago, where I had a battle. And I had to accept it because I knew it was part of my purpose. And I had to accept it within myself because I knew it was going to push me to even be able to accomplish a lot more.
What do you mean by battle? Like internal battle? Or,
like an internal battle where I'm like, I'm not an entrepreneur. Like, I didn't want that label, you know? But my actions and the way I do things is just like, that's my identity, you know? It's who I am.
Yeah.
I'm a risk taker. I don't care if somebody laughs at me, I'll just do it, you know? And that's kind of part of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so from the car dealership, what ventures did you go into after that?
So when I was at the car dealership, I started the process of getting my real estate license, right? I'm currently also a real estate agent here in the Valley. And our detox company started at the same time. So it was actually one day, I sold, I think I made $800 in a day. And that was a huge, like, mind-blowing moment for me, because I was like, wait a second, if I could do this every day for 30 days, that means I can make this much in a month. Like, why am I selling cars? You know what I mean? So it kind of like, it pushed me, you know, it pushed me to where I was like, I don't need this. I don't need to be here. Like, my time here is done, you know? And real estate has always been something that I love sales. I love helping families. And it was just kind of like a hobby.
Yeah.
But I really went all in with our juicing business. So I had both, you know, and it was just a huge blessing where it was 2 entrepreneurial businesses or like, platforms where I had to like, I didn't have a choice. It was it and that's it, you know? Yeah.
You said "are" a few times. Is the detox company with a partner?
Yeah, well, it's my mom, yeah.
Okay, with your mom. How's that?
It's good. It has its struggles,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm like stuttering. We're transitioning to a different, like, how do I say it? Like, the way we're doing everything, we're going to transition and a lot of stuff. So we're in the process. We're actually in a hold right now.
Okay.
We're taking very minimal orders just because we want to just finish that process. So our
like
labels are going to change, our boxes are going to change, our name's going to change, everything, our LLC, we're like getting everything in order. The bank accounts is just a bit, I'm there right now.
Yeah. Well, I would be curious because I think there's pros and cons of working with family. And was your vision the same with your mom when you started this business?
Oh, absolutely not. No. When the detox started, it was actually a form of me blessing my family, where I was like, I want my dad to retire and have really good income coming in. You know, and as the business grew, I realized in this past year, in this transition, I realized that I had to take different actions because it's actually a company. It's not something to combine with a family member, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that are changing right now. We're actually in the process, but once you have something that has so much potential, so much power, like, and you want to see big things happening, you can't keep thinking of it like as just a side business. You know, it's not like that anymore. You know, because it's something that you have to do it like the big guys do it. You know what I mean? You have to have everything in order like the big guys do it. So.
Yeah. Well, now that you've kind of learned the transition of something informal and turning it into that formal business, like, what would you recommend if there's entrepreneur out there who's like starting their own business, but they're still doing it, you know, not by the book so much or under the table, or just kind of running their own thing? Because I think a lot of folks start with that side hustle. I
would say what I even heard and didn't do. Educate yourself. Just do it. Like, even 10 minutes a day. Learn what an LLC is. Learn how to open up your bank account. Save your 30% so you're not. There's years past where I had to pay $40,000 in taxes, and I was like, I didn't save the money for it. You know what I mean? So learn how to have your savings account. Learn how to separate your personal expenses and your business expenses. I'm new to it too, you know. But I'm a little more like a little more aggressive about it now because I already made the mistakes. I already got in debt with the IRS. I've never been in debt for myself, and I got in debt with the IRS. You know what I mean? So it was something that really like triggered me to where I'm like, hey, like, I'm not making this mistake twice, you know? And if it's somebody that's starting a business, even if it's a tiny, small business, like, it does not matter. Why? Because those habits are going to establish anything that you want, you know? Treat it as if you're already making $10 million, $100 million. It's just a number. That's it. It's just a number. $10.
I like that you bring up habits as part of it, because I think that's something that we see entrepreneurs taking risks all the time. And before I started doing it myself, in my mind, I'm like, oh, like, that just takes a lot of courage. But it's actually a habit. Like, risk taking is a habit, particularly the calculated risk taking, right? So this is where I often am talking to folks and get different answers on this one. So I'm very curious to hear yours. How do you know when a risk is worth taking?
Oh, when I'm just like inside, like, I can't do it. Like, I just feel it in my, like, internally in me, like, I'm like, I can't do it. My hands are shaking. And I always wait 2 weeks after. If it's an emotion and I'm super, super excited, I'm like, hold on, I'm too excited for this. Let me look into it again in 2 weeks, and if I still feel this, then it wasn't, because we act by emotions, you know, but we have to understand when it's just an emotion or when it's something that's gonna like be a good foundation for something, you know?
So, I'd be curious on this because I think sometimes, what's that phrase, speed kills or something, right? So they're like, okay, if you have an opportunity in front of you or if you're feeling called to this, if you wait too long, that opportunity could be gone. So when you're saying wait 2 weeks, have you felt like that changes the opportunity that's present?
I think it's just me understanding how to discern time or seasons in my life. For example, there is times that I run because I feel like I have that security within me, like, okay, yes, I have to do it. It's now or never. And then there's times where I'm like, hey, I have to kind of chew on this a little bit. I have to make sure the soil is ready for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I said earlier, there's things that I have in my mind that I've known and I just don't speak into existence yet because it's not the time for it. Yeah. So just having that wisdom and that understanding, like, hey, is it the time for this? And overall having peace. Yeah. You really got to trust yourself to be able to discern between those two. Yeah. It's practice and habits. Yeah.
Okay, wait, can I ask how old you are?
29.
29. Okay, so you've accomplished a lot at 29 already. And the way that I connected with you more, because obviously I didn't know you as a real estate agent and detox owner first, I knew you through BeHer Society. Right. So can you tell us a little bit more about like how BeHer Society was born?
Yeah. I want to say it was actually born around 10, 11 years ago. Okay. And it all happened because I had that urge within me, like I want to be a motivation to people, you know? And I just never felt secured or like I was good enough for it. So throughout years, like I would try to go to networking events and I was always put aside, you know? I would tell people my ideas and then they would end up doing them without me. So I went through that a lot. So I learned how to, or who to say things to and who not to. And it's a process.
Tell me more about that. Tell me more about that.
Yeah.
Who to say things to. It's not about the how you say it, but who to say things to.
Who to say things to.
Please tell me more on this.
It's just energy. You know what I mean? There's going to be certain people that you're going to tell things to and they're going to believe it and they're going to pretty much like invest, even if it's a positive word or something or a thought like, yes, I can see it happening. But then there's going to be those that they're not going to like it because people don't like the way you shine. People don't like good things happening to you. People don't like how, even though it's freaking hard, how easy you make things look. You know what I mean? So I've learned that there's certain things that I don't have to say to certain people, and it's not because they're bad people, it's just because you need to protect your vision, your heart, and what was placed in you for this world, you know?
Oh, I love that. Okay, thank you for letting me interrupt. That's a good one. Yeah, okay, so then, you had to learn who to say it to. You started going to more networking events, and then what?
And then I want to say 2021. I put it on my vision board.
Not too long ago.
Yeah, I actually put the name BeHer on my vision board. Yeah, and then it didn't happen. And it was the beginning of last year. I got married, so I was actually talking to my husband about it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. And he was like, well, okay, like, do it. You know, he's very supportive. Whatever I do, he wants me to do it. So I literally, I had a little extra funds that were just sitting there. I bought everything I needed for the event.
Right away.
Ooh. Yeah, everything I needed, and then I just started selling tickets. It was a huge blessing because out of everybody that was there was probably one person that I knew.
Really? From at your very first event?
Yeah, besides my mom and stuff. Yeah. Like, there was one person that came from the beginning that I knew, and I was like, holy moly, that's crazy. Like, I don't know who these people are. It was almost 9 a.m. when the doors were going to open. I'm like, oh my God, people are coming in. You created a vision and people bought in. Yeah. And we had a little bit over 115 girls. Yeah. And it was just because I did it with all my heart. I let everybody shine, you know what I mean? I gave the opportunity because I wasn't given the opportunity. So I realized that I had to create my own road, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's okay. Sometimes you have to do that. But now I have the opportunity to let people lead. or let people discover who they are,
Right.
So, and I also have the wisdom to know when to say no, or,
Yes.
So I'm very thankful for that process.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a couple directions I want to take that, because to have this vision didn't work out the first time you were like trying to plan it out. You got the support you needed to say like, go for it. And you just went on that faith journey to say like, I'm going to make this happen with the vision I see. So 2 places I want to go with this. One, starting with the vision.
Okay.
Clearly people bought in if you had 115 girls and women showing up to this very first event. So what was the vision for this event, and how did you communicate it to people so that they could feel that and sign up?
It's funny. I thought it was going to be about entrepreneurship when I first started putting everything together. Then I realized that it was about healing and it was about identity,
Yes.
discovering identity. Now, there's a lot of really cool conventions and places you can go to network with people, but the people that I'm trying to reach to can't get there if they don't go through a first step, like a first stool on top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One day they're gonna pay $300-400 for a ticket. Why? Because they're gonna be mentally prepared to go there.
Yes.
But the value, or the people that I feel like have my audience, you know what I mean, are part of my audience, like they're not ready for that. So who's filling in the gap? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's filling in the gap for that? Like, who's
Wow.
gonna help them get there? And I truly feel like that's my purpose. I may not be charging them $500, but even if it's just one person, I establish something in their life, and I know somebody's life is being changed.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a simple situation where someone's gonna commit suicide and they don't. And then they become something amazing later on. That's my goal.
Yeah, you're helping them to first believe in themselves and then think bigger. And I think that's something that challenged me while living in the Central Valley, is I so badly wanted people to think bigger. But what you just said was so important. People have to heal first.
Yeah.
Before they can expand their visions and mindsets. If they're still working through so much that they are feeling limited in their space, in their bubble, they don't want to get out there, it's hard for them to see more. And you created that entry point for them to be like, wait a second, let me open my curiosity just a little bit. And then that creates huge pathways and opportunities for people. That's a gift. That's truly a gift you gave.
And that's why I love bringing everybody out of their comfort zone. Like, I feel like I have that ability to be like, hey, I know what they're good at. Like, I can distinguish it. I can point it out. And
Beautiful. Okay, so the other path I wanted to take it is, you mentioned that there was like only, besides your family who came, there was only like one person you knew who showed up to the event. But I know you have a pretty big network of folks, and you grew up somewhat locally, right? Like within the Modesto area?
Yeah.
So it surprises me that there weren't a bunch of people that you grew up with, that like your neighbors with, that showed up that you already knew. So I'm kind of curious, one, how did it feel to like not see a bunch of people you already knew? And two, what do you think the why is?
So I'm a firm believer of the Bible, and I've always like, this Bible verse or this saying has always been like a huge highlight to me, and is there's no prophet in their own land. And it goes back to, people are, not that they don't believe you, but we all come from the same place, you know what I mean? So there's always gonna be that little like, why is she doing so much, or, and they don't wanna do it or something. I don't wanna say jealousy, but my brother even always says there's always gonna be a little thing of jealousy. And I don't believe in it, because I don't like to feel that way, you know what I mean? So it's just, the people that know your weaknesses are always going to judge you the most, and it's okay to get judged, and I feel like it's what should motivate you and push you to just like thrive and like push through and do more. We're only gonna live once, like just do it, like you're not gonna die, you know what I mean? That's why I love talking about facing your fears. Like when I know I have that fear, like something good's gonna happen.
Yeah. Do you feel like now that you have found success and are continuing to grow, that those same people that may have known you since you were young have shifted their perspective of you?
I think so. I'm very, how do I say it? I always try to make everybody feel special. So I don't take anything personal. You know, I've learned to not take things personal, even though some things do hurt, you know. But I always try to, like, always give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're not a bad person. It's just, who knows what your mind was going through at that time,
Right.
or where your heart was. And hearts shift. You know what I mean? I firmly believe in purpose, you know, and whenever I put together an event, I always think, like, who is meant to be here for this day, you know? And I know some people sometimes will probably feel like, oh, well, why haven't I gotten invited? But there's a purpose, you know? I don't like to highlight ego. I don't like to highlight anything that...
Just for show.
Yeah. That's not who I am. It's never been who I am. And, you know, I'm going to take care of my baby because it cost me a lot. A lot of tears, a lot of process, a lot of understanding. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, this is interesting because you're talking about how you said the baby first, which I love, because when I first started my business, my therapist was like, this is your baby now. Like, your business is your first baby in a sense. And I so agree with that, but there are costs associated. And it aligns with something I was going to ask you already somewhat, which is, you know, when we talk about challenges, there's always going to be hard things, but I'm interested more in the sacrifice piece, the cost, the sacrifice. So in going into actually saying, yes, I am an entrepreneur, and then taking these different routes of the for-profit business, as well as, you know, finding avenues that this is now a nonprofit, right, for BeHer. So like finding the nonprofit route as well. What were the sacrifices you had to make to get to where you are now?
A lot of trips. You know, I love taking trips. A car. I still don't own my dream car, and I could have bought it a long time ago. Material things, you know. Sometimes I will spoil myself, or he spoils me, you know. But I'm very specific when that spoiling happens. You know, there has to be certain things that have to get done first. But yeah, sacrificing, getting my nails done, you know. And I haven't said this story a lot, but I'll say it. There was a year where I didn't do my nails for a whole year, and my eyelashes. And I feel like every time I go through that again, it's because I'm saving for something crazy. So for a full year, I didn't take no trips. And I was able to save almost $100,000,
Nice.
You know? And that kind of gave me that push to do so much more, you know? And I feel like those seasons come back, like, when is it time to just take care of your money? When is it time to actually invest it? Where are you going to put it at, you know? It's a sacrifice, you know?
Yeah. How or where did you learn about money and how to, like,
I
learn to save?
I'm still learning, you know?
Still
like,
learning,
I wish somebody would have taught me.
And that's why I asked,
you
because
know?
we don't grow up with it all the time.
We don't.
In communities of color, we don't talk about it enough.
I want to say ever since I was young, I had that urge, like, I would write. I remember I would write when I was little. I was like, one day I'm going to be the wealthiest girl in Modesto at the youngest age, you know? And I'm probably not there yet, but it's just like, I feel like some people just know it within themselves since they're little what they're meant to do. If they have that purpose, like, they have that little, like, you know, that tugging in your heartstrings, you feel it within. But then you just have to push, break the walls and see where it goes. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like those that choose to actually break down the walls are the ones that are going to be like, oh, I did it.
Yeah, it's
know?
never easy. It's just about doing it.
Just doing it.
Taking the action.
You know, and I think that, I want to say maybe when I was 19, 20 years old, I established this thought in my mind where I'm like, I like it when people laugh at me. Because that's a blessing to me. Every time someone doubts me, it's going to turn into 10 times of a blessing towards me. Anytime anybody curses over me or wish me bad, it's going to turn, I always speak it into existence. It's going to turn into a triple and 10 times of a blessing to me. You know, and any bad energy or any bad thought or anything that comes against who I am, like it just slips like butter. That's what I'd say. I always say that.
Yeah.
And because you have to have that thought in your mind, like people are not gonna be happy for you. You know what I mean? But you have to let that negativity turn into a blessing. Yeah. Just laugh at it. Just enjoy it. Like, you know, I like it when people laugh at me, or I like it when people make things more difficult for me, or I like it when they think that just because they didn't agree or support, it's gonna go bad for me. It's not, you know. It's gonna be a bigger piece. Yeah. And it's a process. You just gotta learn. Yeah. Put it to practice, and then it'll get better. Yeah.
Do you have a particular year or season that you feel like was your lowest?
Honestly, I would say this one.
Really?
Yeah. This year has been tough. It's been a year that I'm learning a lot. And I've had that adversity to where I'm like, hey, like, you got to do it. Like, there's no holding back anymore. Like, you got to do it right, and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah. So if there's, I think, really the whole pandemic season and post-pandemic, even though we're not totally post-pandemic, right? This whole last 3 years, I'd say, has been really challenging for a lot of people, especially, and I think it can apply to anyone, but I'm thinking especially women of color who wanted to start businesses but haven't yet. So what would you say to someone who has a big dream that maybe has been negatively affected by the pandemic season, family or financially, that still wants to go for it?
I would say take a step back, meditate, and really put all your thoughts together. You know, why? Because that's what I do when I feel like I want to do all this, but I don't have the resources, or I can't, or something's holding me back. Maybe it's me that's holding myself back. So like I said, like when I go through my hard depression, like I struggle with depression, and that's who I am. I know it, you know, it's never gonna go away. But if I have to be in bed all day, meditate, and think, it gives me the energy that I need to just keep going. Yeah. You know, and sometimes we need to just stop. And people don't understand that. We live in a society that everything's on social media. Go, run, blah, 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 go. You know, 100,000 billion miles per hour. It's not possible. Sometimes you have to stop, hold it, really look at everything, think about all the different scenarios, and then be like, okay, this is it. You know, and that's something that I do constantly. Social media has had a huge impact on me, where I'm like, and it happens to everybody, where you just scroll, waste time, or you start judging yourself. I told Edgar the other day, I was like, babe, I never feel jealous towards anybody, but why do I feel jealous when I see girls post a new car? And it's girls I don't even know, like they're from Texas, or like, you know what I mean, like places that I don't even know. And I caught that, because I was like, this is not okay. I don't want to feel like that. He's like, because you're sacrificing and your car's going to come. You know, I could have bought a car. I could have bought a Porsche. I could have bought a G-Wagon a long time ago, you know. But I chose not to, because I wanted to set myself for the long run, you know. And it's just holding back. Sometimes you have to just take that step back, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. I had to do it with the detox. You know, I had to take a step back. Right now we're aligning everything, and I know it's still going to be a huge blessing. Absolutely. You know, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I got like 2 last questions for you.
I feel like I'm
You're doing great. Yeah. It's so good. No, there's so many pieces of advice and tips and examples that you're giving that I know are going to impact a lot of women positively. So you mentioned depression and like mental health, and I think the relationship between entrepreneurship and mental health is a strong one. I think most entrepreneurs also have, I want to say, extreme stories related to their mental health, and it's part of the motivation of why we want the time freedom and the ability to not be working 9 to 5 all the time and things like that. But it also means we put in a lot more hours than 9 to 5 sometimes in doing it. So in those tough seasons, mental health wise, or tough seasons in the business, what do you do to keep yourself going, or maybe who do you lean on to keep yourself going?
Edgar. Yeah, no, he's amazing. But besides that, I would say God. I would actually say God first, because he is the one I spend the most time with, you know. Like, my husband knows when I need my space and when I need to be alone, and he understands that. And that's when I spend time with God, you know. I'll go to sleep listening to worship, and it's just what gives me the energy and the strength. So I would just say, like, you know, even if you're not religious, just lean yourself a little bit to God, because he is real. He's there. And he's listening to all of us. Yeah.
You're like, can you stop listening to my conversation? Okay, actually, hold on. I needed that one.
Yeah.
Better than Alexa.
Yeah.
Okay, so my last question for you is, how would you describe your legacy? What do you want your legacy to be?
I want to cry when you ask me that. I've never had anybody ask me that. I don't know. Can I answer that later? I don't even know if I have the answer to that.
It's okay if you don't have
an
answer right away.
I got all emotional.
What's making you emotional to the question?
I don't know. Because I have so much, like, I just like to give. I don't know why I love to give, you know, and it's funny that we were talking about God, because, oh my God, I'm crying.
It's all right. It's a thing.
You know? If I had to be the sacrifice for it, I want a generation to feel loved.
It's huge. It is huge. I love it. Well, you are continuously giving love to people. I see it. I feel it. You've done it for me. It is truly a gift that you give folks, and I can say that from the God side, right? You can feel His love through you. And that's huge. So if that is your legacy, that is your legacy.
Yeah.
And that would be a beautiful one.
Thank you.
Thank you so
You got
much.
me crying.
You're crying. It's fine. It's fine.
You got me
Here
crying.
to uplift. We bring you tears.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of folks who want to connect with you more. Can you tell them how can they connect with you?
Yeah, social media. Or you guys could comment. No, I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, BeHer Society. My Instagram's tagged on there too somewhere, so feel free to reach out. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We're going to keep it going more and more.
Dang, girl, you got me crying.
Thank you for tuning in to the Here to Uplift podcast. New episodes are airing every week with some bonus episodes in between too. So make sure you stay tuned by subscribing, following, liking, and engaging with us to let us know what topics you're most interested in and what might inspire you along this journey. We're going to keep working hard on our end because we are here to uplift not only ourselves, but our community too, and that includes you. So I can't wait for you to hear the next episode. But for now, do your thing, let's get it, and let's keep moving forward. Uplift yourself, friends. You got this.